everyone. Welcome to another episode of Team AC with Aliya Crawford. I'm Aliya Crawford, and my career in public relations and entertainment has afforded me with the opportunity to connect with fascinating people in many different walks of life doing fascinating things. A few months ago, I announced that I was running for a seat on the school board in my city of Willingboro, New Jersey. And I have had the opportunity to join forces with two powerful, amazing, qualified people who, together we're running as a team. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce my running mates, Daisy Maxwell Cisse and Kecia Parham Cook. Daisy is a current member of the Willingboro School Board, and she's also a proud Willingboro High School graduate. Kecia is a 36-year resident of Willingboro, a 26-year veteran teacher in the Willingboro School District, 31 years altogether as a teacher, and a longtime community member and advocate. I was raised in Willingboro. I am a product of the school system, a graduate of Willingboro High School, and recently I was inducted into the Willingboro High School Hall of Fame in conjunction with our high school's 50th anniversary. So I'm really passionate about my community, excited to be running for a seat on the school board to help make a difference in our young people's lives in this community. So Daisy, Kecia, welcome to Team AC with Aliya Crawford.
Thank
you for the invite.
Yes.
So with the election right around the corner, less than 2 weeks away, November 4th. November 4th is election day nationwide, everyone. Let's get right to it. So, thank you again for joining me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to work with you all and to campaign together and to hopefully serve together. But I'm just gonna, ask you some questions. I want people to get to know a little bit more about us and what our goals are and what we stand for, So first question is, what inspired you to step up and serve? And, Daisy, for you, you're currently a school board member. So to continue serving, and want to continue the work.
So as you mentioned, I'm a current board member. I see there's still a lot to do. I'm committed to continuing to offer the best for our kids, but also identify those challenges and come up with some strategic ideas. So, because we need to move that needle in a positive direction. So our kids deserve the best learning environment. So yeah, that is my why, basically, of why I want to continue to serve.
How about you, Kecia?
Well, I would say my greatest desire is to see this Willingboro community to thrive. And I have been a resident, as you mentioned, for 36 years, coming here from Newark, New Jersey, and just loving all that Willingboro had to offer. So it's my love for the community. It's my love for education overall. I've always been a lifelong learner, and I love what happens in the classroom, but also in the course of years of my experience, I have learned that what happens outside of the classroom is just as vital and important. So my love for education overall and my concern for the students and the families and even the legacy of my own family, having my husband's family being lifelong residents here, my children have been residents here for their entire lives. They've grown up here, attended schools here. And so it's just a basic love to see the community continue to thrive and to see our school system receive the accolades that it should receive, having been a model district in the past. I know that we can return there in the future. And I know we're doing great things currently, but I know that being a part of that is something that I would love to be able to do.
Absolutely. And for me, I've been involved in service and advocacy for a long time. I am a part of the Recording Academy. I'm the vice president of the Philadelphia chapter, and we advocate for the rights of musicians and artists in the music community. And so I have pondered the thought of, stepping into local politics for a while, and finally I took the plunge. But I am really passionate about Willingboro. That's why I have stayed here all these years, and I know that I received a world-class education and I had a great childhood growing up here. And I want to continue that legacy that Willingboro has, like, just producing so many successful people in so many different areas, and having a great, great curriculum through the years, great music and arts programs over the years, great sports programs. And I want the young people today to have what I had and more, and so that they can really, really become their best selves, and walk in their purposes.
Yeah.
So, I think we have a shared vision, and a shared mission of what we'd like to see. So, Kecia, how, you mentioned your husband's family, being lifelong residents, and your husband going to the Willingboro schools, but you worked in the Willingboro schools as an educator. How did that experience how has that shaped your vision for what you want to see?
Well, having been a teacher in the district for 26 years, I have seen our district grow. I've seen various changes. And basically, for me, with 31 years in education overall and 26 of those within the Willingboro schools, I've learned that when we invest in our students, when we support our teachers, when we unite as a community, our schools flourish. And that's the vision that I'm ready to help push forward and help lead and collaborate with and to continue. So that's pretty much where my my vision and my goal is, in helping to continue to see that we thrive here in Willingboro.
Absolutely. And one of our collective mottos is strong schools for all scholars. So, Daisy, what does that look like in the classroom and in the actual buildings?
Well, that's a good question, because to have strong schools, you have to have some great teachers and staff who are really advocating for our kids. So,
Absolutely.
and we do have that. So to have that group of people who are looking for our kids to excel, I think that's going to help build those strong scholars in our community. So, like you all have said, the vision here is to create an environment for our kids where they're thriving. And then also, just to go back a little bit, Aliya, one of the things you mentioned is that you grew up here in Willingboro. I also did grow up here in Willingboro, and I raised my kids here in Willingboro. So I've seen it from two different perspectives. So our visions are all the same, and we want to see our district grow and get better. And that, starts with our teachers and our staff at Willingboro. And, when they have that passion to make sure our kids do well, that's what's going to happen when to create that strong school and strong scholars.
Kecia, do you want to add anything to that?
I agree with everything that Mrs. Cisse has mentioned. I also feel like, basically we need to also make sure that our teachers are supported with the training that they need, the materials, the time to be able to teach effectively. Having been in the classroom, I understand how that feels. Making sure that all of our students, all of our scholars in our classrooms can strive towards greatness they can achieve no matter what their needs are, their backgrounds are. And I feel like there should also be, some push for us to have stronger mentorship, mental health support when students need it, as well as for staff when staff needs upliftment, making sure that we prioritize the social and emotional learning and help our scholars to build their confidence level, and also be able to take that beyond the classroom. I envision us having a space where our families are more informed and involved with progress updates across the district periodically, even if that's quarterly, and where our community partners, because that's something that's very vital to success, where our community partners are present in the schools, they're doing programs, offering mentoring and real life and real learning experiences.
Yeah, I agree. And I think the mentorship is
Mhm.
key, ongoing mentorship for the educators, that effective communication between all the parties, between the board and the superintendent, and also the teachers, and them having a good a large amount of access to the board, and those opportunities to connect and to be able to communicate. I think all of those are key, and also just ensuring that our kids have the best access to the most up-to-date technology, most up-to-date resources, so that they are really prepared for this 21st century that we're in, and beyond. So
Absolutely.
there we have it.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, you hit it on the nose, Aliya, about the technology. It's so funny you say that, because one of the sessions I attended at the convention was talking about how we need to incorporate that. And that's going to be our future, because these kids are in this digital age. And yeah, that's very important that we start, thinking about how we're going to make sure our kids are ready for that.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. I know that, obviously when you're in a public position and you're a public official, you are going to be under scrutiny, and you're going to be critiqued, and you have to be accountable to your community that you serve. So what does that accountability look like, in terms of the decisions a board is making or should be making? What does that look like to each of you?
I'm sorry. I hope I didn't jump in front of you, Ms.
No,
Cisse.
that's okay.
I think that the accountability pieces, that's one of my core values. That looks like making data-informed decisions, reviewing the results regularly with our superintendent, making sure that our administrators in the building are connected to the district goals, and that our Board of Education members hold ourselves, or themselves, I should speak properly in the present tense, hold themselves as a board accountable, as well as in conjunction with the decisions that are made with the superintendent and all of the district leaders who are responsible for meeting those goals. But also then, as I mentioned before, communicating openly with the community about what that progress looks like, what challenges have they faced, and what could possibly be our next steps. And if there's a way to pull the community into bridging some of those gaps, finding ways through collaborative conversations to figure out what that looks like. So that's what accountability looks like for me.
I mean, for me, we are, like you mentioned, Ms. Cook, is the data. A lot of our things are data driven. A lot of things are state mandated. But with that, whatever resources they put forth to us as a board, we have to be able to but to support them. They have to provide that information to us, so that we make them accountable, that whatever you're submitting to us, if we're approving this, that you're moving forward diligently and respectfully and collaboratively, so that they can be able to use those resources correctly. And one of the things that's happening is that even though with the general education population, you're finding that you need certain types of resources, but those also, with the equity part of it, making sure that the special education side also gets the same type of resource. So, we got to make it accountable and equitable for all our kids.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, just to touch on what you said, Daisy, in terms of our special education students, that information and that data is so important, because that's ever changing. That's always changing in terms of what things that children may be dealing with, and how many children are dealing with that in the district, and what type of resources are available, what type of support is available, and what type of programs and policies should be implemented in the schools when it comes to children with special needs.
Yes.
That's where the data is extremely important. And also, the data on your demographics and for children, who may be English as a second language and all these different things, you have to constantly be analyzing that data and have the accurate data to be
Yeah.
able to, implement the proper policies.
That's
So that communication, like we've been saying, is very, very key.
mhm.
What do you think about in terms of course, we have the board meetings, right? Every month, and parents are invited to attend and watch online if they can't attend in person and, voice concerns or questions. There's opportunity for that. But are there ways, what can we look at? How can we look at to be able to increase communication between the board and parents and also the educators?
Yes.
So yeah, we still have a lot of work in communicating with the community. We do communicate internally, of course, with the teachers and staff, and even parents when things go, when they need, information needs to go out. But I think we just need a better way to bridge the community and
Mhm.
get them more involved.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, like I think we mentioned in some other talk when we do our talking points, sometimes we do mention that the district does have an app just like the township, and we need to extend that to the community.
Yeah.
And then just attending some their organizations and clubs and say, hey, by the way, this is what is happening in the school district. So I think those are two ways we can kind of reach out to the community more, so they know that their tax dollars are going to something positive.
Yeah, and I think that synergy, like you said, between organizations and making sure that the board members have a presence there, supporting these different organizations and events. I think social media is important, and having an active and regular presence on social media, because that allows another avenue for people to see what the board is working on and what we have going on. And then, of course, board and district sponsored events, like the board was a part of creating the 50th, the Hall of Fame, the Willingboro High School Hall of Fame. And I think that was great for the community to see, great for the students to see, and also great for, to help bring people together. So more events, and I think just more opportunities for us to interact with one another is key.
Yes. I would agree with what both of you stated so far. I think that when we look at some of the social media that's going on right now, it's an excellent way for those people who are on social media to be connected and to see, there's great things going on with the staff and the students, and even it's Principals Month. So, you've been able to see some of the faces of principals that you maybe didn't even know. Oh, I'm so sorry. Principals that you perhaps did not know, were doing such great things in the school system. And it's important for us to do that. But, even just simply having town council meetings, or not town council, school board, meetings where you bring the entire community together, like what we do with the state of the district. But, perhaps instead of just doing it once a year, maybe twice a year, or perhaps having something where you could probably do like a coffee and conversations with the board members,
Mm-hmm.
like
That's a
dads and
good idea.
donuts, with the dads and donuts and moms and muffins. Well, coffee and conversations with the board members. And even to the point of, how do you get your parents out? You get your parents out when your students are involved. So let's go back to some of the old fashioned things that we used to do. And I hate to say old fashioned, but, student advisory councils, or finding a way to have the students, partake in it so that the parents will be out and about and connected to what's happening as well. Because if my children are involved, well, then, yeah, I want to be there, And so one of the things that I think is great that we have in the township is strong PTAs. Our schools have strong PTA groups, and that brings some of the parents out as well. So, there's many different ways to brainstorm how to connect the community.
Yeah, I love the idea of a student advisory council and
Yeah.
having the children get involved with the board, and also that provides them with an opportunity to see how this governmental body works, and how this piece of local politics and how that works. And I think, even like, I think you referenced something like this, Kecia, like a town hall, even a town hall where it's not the regular board meeting where official business is being conducted. This is an informal opportunity for people to connect, or, like a meet the board night, or like back to school night, because it's important that people know who their officials are in these roles, because again, their tax dollars are going towards the schools, and the board is responsible for hiring the superintendent, who's going to, make a lot of these decisions in terms of hiring and approving these budgets. So they really need to know who the people are in these, leadership positions,
Exactly.
So let's, we're going to shift the conversation a little bit to, like we talked about, putting students first, not politics. It's another one of our mottos. So what does that mean to you in practice?
For me, I think that statement is clear as day. So putting students first, not politics. We should not ever put our own agenda above our kids. So that's what it means to me.
Yes, I agree with Ms. Cisse that from the budget to the policies to the curriculum, that we are guided by what best benefits our students mostly, not by our own personal interests, not by any outside pressures, but what benefits our students and families, because we have to include them as well.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with all of that. And, not being making decisions based for political reasons, not making doing favors for people, or doing things because it's going to put you in the spotlight, but actually thinking about the kids, thinking about your own children, thinking about yourself when you were a child and a student, and the things that you needed so that you could thrive and feel supported and feel seen. That's what that means to me,
Yes.
So again, election day is less than 2 weeks away. It's a big race in New Jersey because it's a gubernatorial race. We'll be voting for our new governor. And oftentimes you don't see as big a turnout in elections, non-presidential elections. But your local politics is what affects your day-to-day life more than the national politics and the national races, because people don't realize that their tax dollars are what is being spent, and the local politicians decide how your tax dollars are allocated to what, how much, all these things. And even for a small town like Willingboro, a smaller city, you're dealing with a really big budget when it comes to the budget for the school district. You're dealing with big budgets when it comes to the budget for the whole township. So you, again, want to know who are running for these roles and who you're putting in these roles. So it's really important still to vote when it's not a presidential year. Again, it's an important year for New Jersey and other states where there are governor races. But again, you have all of these other politicians and all these other races down ballot. And so that gives me an opportunity to say, they say when you are voting in your voting booth, don't stop from the top and go down. Start from the bottom and work your way up so you don't miss, selecting any candidates, you don't miss voting in any of these different categories, right? So let's talk about that, right? Let's talk about how people don't realize how important local elections are and how the school board affects their children's daily student life and their student experience.
Yes. Well, I want to jump in with that one really quickly. It's interesting that, as we're having this conversation and we're all in this space that we are. Well, Ms. Cisse, you've had more experience, than the two of us have. But when you think about how people approach the local elections, a lot of people don't really often know who to vote for because maybe they don't know who the candidates are. Maybe
Yes.
they're not quite sure of what are the issues that I need to be concerned about for my school district or even on the local level. Maybe they're not even sure what's happening on their local level. Perhaps it's scheduling that interferes, or they're getting their information secondhand. So, there's often what I call a space of the unknown. Like when I go to the booth, I'm not sure, who should I, vote for? Have I heard of these, individuals? Do I know what they're doing? Or maybe, well, my friend said, to vote for this particular person. Or however, I think it's important though for everyone to tap in to what is happening on the local level. Because as you said, that's where your key decisions are made. Our national elections are, important and vital, but so are our local elections. They set our direction, they set our pathway, they set action and movement. And it's the same with our school board elections. We should know who is at the helm of the decision making and the governance, budget wise, policy wise, as far as staffing, our superintendent. All of that should be something where the community is engaged, because your voice is very powerful and your knowledge is powerful, and it spurs you to speak up. When the community is connected, they speak up. They're more engaged. They demand more answers. They demand more accountability, and not in a negative way, because you can have, commentary that's positive and uplifting and supportive, as well as commentary that asks questions, commentary that seeks clarity. So all of it is important.
Yeah, for sure. Daisy, what would you say to anyone or any parent who thinks that their vote doesn't matter?
Oh, their vote definitely matters. Um, you're putting your trust into the people that are sitting on that board to help make decisions for the community. And so it's so important for them to be informed on who we are, who is lined up on in that ballot. And even though you may not, that's why we're putting the word out that we three here, we want to be on this board. We want to show transparency. We want the community to make us more accountable. So, this is why we're campaigning and making sure that people understand. And maybe, some of those folks may know us and be able to spread the word and say, hey, yeah, she is a good person. She will make good decisions on our behalf. So that's very important for us to get our name out there and make sure people understand who we are. Because, the three of us, I think will do well for these kids. There's nothing on the back end for us. Like Ms. Cook said, she's been in the district. Ms. Crawford, you said you lived in this district. You know how, the school system was. And for myself, the same thing. So I think we all are very engaged and invested in what we want to see in the school district. So that's important for those voters out there to understand that whatever is happening on the local level is going to affect them directly. So that's so important for them to understand who we are and how to vote. So, hopefully, they'll look at us and, spread the word and say, yeah, these three ladies, I think they're going to do a good job. So that's how I feel about it.
Absolutely. And in your local elections, you're dealing with smaller groups of people. So instead of hundreds of thousands or millions of votes, you're dealing with thousands or tens of thousands. So those individual votes do make a difference, because it could be a very tight race and it could be a difference. One vote can make a difference. 5 votes can make a difference.
That's
and
right.
For those, there's always room for improvement in any situation. But if there are people who are not satisfied with what they see currently, that you have to get out there and vote and let your voice be heard. Or if you are satisfied with what you see currently, then you speak with your vote as it relates to that, but voting is important. And former state senator Nina Turner said, for people who say they don't do politics, politics is going to do you. So whether you don't do politics whether you do them or not, they are going to do you.
Yes. That's such a profound statement. Man, I need that on a t-shirt.
Yeah, he tweeted that out. That was like, I think before the presidential election in 2024. She said, whether or not you do politics, they certainly gonna do you, baby. So
That's right.
so, yes, clock it, right? So what does progress in Willingboro schools, what does progress look like for you in the future?
Oh, wow.
That's a good one.
That is a good one. So progress in the future, it looks like the community coming together and families, educators, and the board members working, and the central administration, the superintendent, and all of his cabinet working together as true partners, that we are grounded in accountability and a shared vision and goal. Progress looks like our schools are safe and inclusive, they're thriving, and spaces where our scholars feel respected, our staff members feel valued. It feels like progress looks like the district has more modernized programs that are 21st century learning based, partnerships that prepare our students for college, career, and life, and that our residents, because this is the heart of where I am right now as a retiree, that our residents who are not on the inside of the schools are equally as engaged and involved, that they're attending meetings, that they're sharing in the goals and the visions, the input, and that most importantly, that they are taking pride in what the district's direction has gone to. That's what progress looks like for me.
How about you, Daisy?
So everything that Ms. Cook said, but one thing I want to add is with that progress, you will see it in the test scores. You will see the results of us identifying everything you just said, Ms. Cook, because if you can create that environment, those kids will definitely excel. So that's my 2 cents to what you just mentioned.
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with everything that's been said, and I'll add on to it a little bit. It definitely, I agree that the progress will show in the test scores. I would add that it looks like more mentoring programs for our educators and staff. It looks like tutoring and enrichment programs for our students, and also making sure that they have that 360-degree experience in education, both in the classroom and with their curriculum, but also with extracurricular activities, with sports programs and the music and arts programs, which we all know are very important as well. I was a music and arts student, so that's very important to me. The arts are very important to me, as well as athletics, and making sure that our students are physically active and healthy, physically, mentally, and emotionally. So that's about it, ladies. I think this has really been a great conversation. I really value our collaboration and us working together, to campaign. I think we all are passionate about the kids and our community, and we only want it to thrive, right?
Yes.
That's our little tagline. Help Willingboro thrive with 1-4, vote 145. Those are our positions on the ballot.
Yes.
Maxwell Cisse.
I just want to mention is that October 25th is early voting.
Yes.
So get out to vote. If you can go early, that'll be great.
Yeah. You can mail your ballots in, drop them off for early voting, or, be at the polls on Tuesday, November 4th. But again, I'm Aliya Crawford. I'm in position number 5. Kecia Parham Cook is in position number 4 because we're voting from the bottom. We're starting at the bottom and going up. And then Daisy Maxwell Cisse is in position number 1. Let's all get out to vote. Even if you're not in Willingboro, let's get out to vote. Encourage your family, encourage your friends, your colleagues, your coworkers, let's all make sure that our voices are heard on
Absolutely.
November 4th. You know, you don't always get what you deserve. Sometimes you get what you vote for.
That's right. Yes, it's important for us to exercise this right. I always remember people died for this right to vote. People sacrificed for our right to vote. So get out there and make your voices heard. It's important. It's legacy. It's not just for today. It's legacy. What happens tomorrow?
Absolutely. Well, thank you everyone for watching another episode of Team AC with Aliya Crawford. I'm Aliya Crawford. Please like, comment, and share this episode. And also, if you're not subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to the channel. But ladies, before I forget, how can people get in touch with you?
Oh, well, they can get in touch with me on Facebook and Instagram. I have pages on both platforms. My pages are Kecia P. Cook for WBOE, and that's Kecia P for P Cook for WBOE. So they can get in touch with me on Facebook or Instagram.
So I have a Facebook page, but they can contact me under Daisy Maxwell Cisse under Facebook.
And we'll link everyone's contact information in the description. People can always catch up with me here. They can catch up with me on Instagram, Aliya Crawford _. And I'm Aliya Crawford for Willingboro on Facebook. So yes, thank you again for joining us. Thanks for joining Team AC. Thank you, Kecia. Thank you, Daisy, so much for this time. It was a really great conversation. And let's go.
Let's go, Willingboro.
Thank
Let's
you.
go. Thank you.